dig on America.
You are fake news.
Last call. Last call. Last call. Last call.
Hey everybody, welcome to Last Call with Lourin Hubbard. I am your host, Lourin Hubbard, here on Last Call, and we have a special episode for you today. We're going to get into some of the races that I think have the largest impact on everyday life for people. And one of those races is happening in Florida. So we're going to bring in our guest, JR. How do you say your last name, JR?
Gaillot, like G-Y, Gaillot.
Gaillot, there it is. JR is running.
I'm glad I didn't guess.
I was going to say Gaillot.
I thought it was going to be
Gaillot.
Gaillot.
Hey, listen, man, I've heard it all different ways, but it's just Guy dash Yo. I was born in New York City. In New York, everybody said, hey, yo, over here. What are you doing? Yo. So just add a yo after the guy and you got it.
There it is.
Hey, Guy. Yo.
Now, a little faster.
Joining me in the co-host chair this week is Jason Dutch from the rest of Dig on America. Jason, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right, dude. Just
Trying
to keep tabs on where my daughter's at, coming back from San Diego, and jumping in here for Brent since he is discombobulated today.
Yeah, discombobulated. That's a great way to say it. And just a reminder to folks: if you can't handle Taco Bell, don't eat Taco Bell.
That's exactly right.
So I just want to give a big shout out to those folks in the chat. We do see your comments, and we appreciate your comments as we stream in. And we like to put them up on the board here and kind of allow you to ask your questions of our candidates that we have here coming in here. But the kind of introduction that I want to give JR today, I used to live in Florida. So it's a sister still lives in Florida. It's really a special place to me. It's really the only place I've ever lived outside of California, and the only place I would consider living outside of California. So what happens there is very, very important and near and dear to my heart. And here we have JR Gaillot.
Hey, Guy. Yo.
Who is running for the agricultural commissioner in Florida. JR, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Lourin, for having me. Jason, it's great to be here. It's been a long journey. We got 2 more days.
2 more days. Man, I'm telling you, as Florida's going to be a really big test for people just looking into, further down in the midterms and really kind of looking into the future about 2024. I think when it comes to Florida, I don't think Democrats have won statewide in Florida.
Except Freed.
Except for Nikki, who's currently there.
4 years ago, and before her was Barack Obama. Bill Nelson lost. So it's been a tough road for Democrats in Florida, no doubt.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, Nikki Freed is the current ag commissioner. She's running for governor of Florida. Tell us, what does the ag commissioner actually do there?
That's a great question. And a lot of people stop at the agriculture part of the name, thinking it strictly has to do with agriculture. And then it's the picture you see on the gas pumps in Florida. But there's 19 separate departments. The bigger portion of it has to do with consumer protection services. So the job is only 15% agriculture. The other 85% is consumer protection services. So basically what that means is everything that is bought and sold within the state of Florida, if it can affect you financially, health-wise, in any way, shape, or form, falls under the control of the Department of Florida Agriculture and Consumer Protection Services. So it's very broad. We cover weights and measures, food, animal, plants, algae, environment, everything.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I when I was researching it was looking at Nikki Freed, who's the current ag commissioner in Florida, and she called it, the People's Commissioner. because you deal with so much. And I don't think a lot of people know this, but one of the things that the Commissioner of Agriculture oversees is actually school lunches in the state of California, the state of Florida, rather. Tell us a little bit about that, because I got to be honest, I had recently watched the Michael Moore documentary, Where to Invade Next, and they show this segment of what school lunches look like in France with like multiple courses, and the chefs, and they go to like the mayor's office and have their menus all set. They have a cheese plate, and I look at what we're serving here, and it's not nearly as nutritious. But what's one of the things about school lunches? Is there anything in your platform that you want to kind of improve or revamp when it comes to that aspect of the job?
Well, absolutely. First of all, the quality of the school lunches is number one. The quality is atrocious when you're comparing it to other countries. You mentioned France. My daughter goes to law school in France. I am part French. I speak French fluently. And I'm well aware of what goes on in other countries because I've worked overseas in different places. So we need better improvement in school lunches in America. And my focus is going to be that's one of the areas I am going to tackle in Florida. It's, you can't feed a child chocolate milk at 7:00 in the morning. It doesn't make any sense. And the quality, the processed food, the food has so much sugar, so much salt in it, and the food is bad for you, and it creates health issues. It creates obesity. It creates all kinds of other problems. So we definitely have to tackle that. But to tackle that, we have so many other issues that the Republicans have set up as a barrier for us in terms of the companies that we are getting the food. One of the companies that we get food from, for example, is tied to prison labor, private prison corporations.
You don't say.
Of course.
Okay.
No,
so
I don't.
That's a huge problem. And we don't have fresh food coming in. These foods are traveled hundreds of miles. They are prepackaged in order for them to stay what they deem as some type of freshness or edible. It is pretty much embalmed in all kinds of crap that is affecting our children. Children have to be eating better. They have to be eating a quality meal, especially in breakfast. There are, like in Clay County where I live, for example, there is 132,000 students that eat breakfast on a regular basis. And for 85% of them, that is the only meal they're going to get throughout the day is the food they eat. And that's a problem. We have over 19,000 students. That is just a number that we know of that are actually homeless. Broward County has 84,000 students that are homeless. Miami-Dade County has another 74,000. I mean, the numbers, when you think about it, it's heartbreaking. That's what it comes down to. But right now, there is a class action lawsuit pertaining to school lunches that is happening. And I want to talk about that a little bit. There's one company that processes the school lunches for all the counties in the state of Florida. Now, when you and I go to the grocery store, we use our debit card or credit card. There's a market rate, which typically is about between 2.75% to 3.5%. So when you go to your Kroger's or a Winn-Dixie, you swipe your card, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, they're getting 3.5%. That's how they make their money. Mm-hmm. Well, that company is charging 30%. 30. So for every $10,
so you're talking about the merchant services company is charging 30%.
30%.
Because that's in addition to I actually used to work in this industry, and so Amex, MasterCard, Visa, whomever, they have their rate.
Right.
The bank that sponsors the card has a rate. So like Chase, Bank of America. Yeah. And then on top of that, you have a merchant services company. The merchant services company is the one who owns the box that you literally swipe through. Right. And they charge it. So that's who you're talking about. Short charges the exorbitant rate.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
in
goodness
Florida, what's happening is here you have to pay for lunch. Not everybody qualifies for free lunch. Okay. And let's just use an example of a child that does get free lunch. They can only get that basic meal, that basic breakfast, basic lunch. That's it. So if they want an ice cream, a bag of chips, chocolate milk, they have to pay extra for it.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is parents have to send money. They have to load the account. So when they send $10, parents didn't realize that the child's only getting $7. And the kid goes, buys himself an ice cream, and then decide, hey, their best friend wanted an ice cream that day. They bought an ice cream for the best friend. So now the account gets overdrawn. They charge a penalty fee on top of that. And after, depending on the county, some it's 10 days, some it's 15, some it's 30 days. They suspend the lunch where you get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or you can't eat lunch at all. That is completely outrageous. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it just doesn't match the values that are supposedly in
Can
America.
I ask a quick question about that? Can I ask a quick question? JR, from where you sit, did the Michelle Obama initiative add anything positive to that conversation?
It did, but then Rick Scott decimated it. Basically shifted some of that funding towards other things, and they went to corporate tax break.
The governor prior to DeSantis.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's again unfortunate because just last week I was celebrating the fact that California made all school lunches for every student, breakfast and lunch, free to every student, regardless of their ability to pay. And it's just one of those things, when that story was happening, I've been doing a series of these listening tours throughout the state of California, just centered around poverty and how we can work to break the cycle. And I had one of the stories, and the lady actually wrote to me her story in regards to student lunches. And so I just wanted to kind of read what she said here. She said, I remember sitting on the floor counting change for lunch that week, and sometimes not having enough to pay off the debts, and I wouldn't be able to get lunch. And they had to provide milk regardless of my debt, but I couldn't eat. And some kids today are still threatened that if they're not able to pay, they get held back. So go ahead, Judge.
I'm gonna say, and not only that, I'm gonna add as a parent of a student, and we're in California, so my daughter gets lunch, and I should say she can get lunch, but because of the social circles within school, it's a negative thing for her to, like, we can afford it, right? Like, we don't need for her to get the free lunch. But I also am not going to give her $20 a day for food, right? So I tell her, and I tell her, I'm not going to feed you from the snack bar, and you're not going to eat churros and Doritos and stuff like that. So I'm like, if you don't, if there's a day and you forget to ask me for lunch money because I didn't realize you were out, you're gonna have to eat the free lunch that day. But she won't, because of the social stigmas that go across with grabbing that free lunch, right? And it's like, it's weird because, like, a lot of the kids, from what I hear, like, almost nobody, again, this is my daughter talking secondhand information, but she claims that almost no one takes the free lunch because people who do are chastised for it. So it's like, it's a weird situation, because it's kind of like you almost want to say, all right, everybody has to take it, or nobody, or we just do something better. And I think the better solution there is we do something better so that it doesn't become a social stigma, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree with you 100%. And in cases like this, in some counties in Florida, the free lunch is different than the normal lunch that is served, and it shouldn't be. Okay, so that is how kids, when you talk about why your daughter and her friends doesn't want to take that free lunch, because you can just look at it and tell, oh, this is a free one. because what they're getting over here is different, and it shouldn't be that way. It's almost by design to embarrass the child, the family, the parents, and in my eyes, that's criminal.
Yeah, it's just really weird to me because like I got reduced price lunch. I didn't eat it every day, but you know, I also went to Bakersfield High School, and darn it, we had really good lunch options around us that were very inexpensive. Dutch, being for living in Bakersfield, you know, in that little hub right there, there's some really good cheap eats. But I myself, I partook in it, and I got club sandwiches. I ate hot lunch every pizza day because for some reason the cafeteria pizza was way better than like pizza you can order.
All pizza in California sucks. Okay, let's just.
Oh, get that Chicago talk out of here.
Oh no, wait. Chicago doesn't have pizza. That's a pie with sauce. Okay, yeah. New York City.
It's better than toast. It's better than toast with ketchup, which is what they have out here. Okay. Hey, I like New York pizza. There will be no pizza hate on this show. I'm a fan of New York pizza, but I also like my Chicago pizza. And anyone who wants to fight about it, I'm ready to fight, JR. So let's
rock and roll. Talking about the deep dish, though, right?
So I don't want to get on a rabbit hole here, but there's a misnomer about Chicago style pizza. We actually talked about this on the Wednesday show. You have three kinds. And within those kinds, there's sub kinds. You have the deep dish pizza, which you have two kinds. You have a pie, which kind of looks like a chicken pot pie, but has sauce on the top, and it's a stuffed pizza. And then you have a very, very, very deep pie pie type pizza that kind of looks like, you know, a regular pie that doesn't have the crust over the top. And that is your more like Lou Malnati's style. Then you have a double dough, and then you have the cracker, and then you have a cracker crust. So there's four different ones.
Here's the question, though. Should pineapple be on pizza?
No. Or anchovies? No. Or onions.
No.
Matter.
No pineapple on pizza. Absolutely.
We agree. You have my vote.
Okay. Yeah. That's and you don't eat pizza with a fork and knife either.
I like pizza like I like my women. I like everything. All the above. I don't.
You know what? Moving right along. I'm not going to touch that one, man.
No, please don't.
So one of the other things I want to get in here and talk to you about, just because I know the ad commissioner oversees some of this, is the responsibility for concealed weapons licensing, which has been becoming a hot button issue. Where do you stand on that issue?
Okay. Well, if you want to own a gun under my administration, you're going to have liability insurance for it. Period. Okay?
That's common sense to me.
You need insurance for your car, for your motorcycle, for your home, your golf cart here in Florida, but it makes absolutely no damn sense to me that you don't need insurance for it. So we're going to put together, the statute allows us to revisit the process, put a committee together to make the recommendations. And what that's going to do is that's going to create jobs, that's going to create revenue. I've already spoken to the insurance companies. I've even spoken to gun manufacturers. They want it. In my county where I live, which is 85% Republican, I have yet to meet a single person. I met a guy yesterday who says he's got 7 AR-15s. And he says to me, JR, I have no problem paying $100 a year for each of them. I will pay $700 for the liability insurance. Don't know what it's going to cost, but I'll tell you what. The NRA has been a constant problem. It's been a nuisance. In California, there was a recent case where successfully a gun manufacturer was sued. So that has set precedent. Now, they are all afraid of that. They don't want that. I'm going to use the capitalistic system, pin the insurance folks against the NRA. Because you know who's got more money than the NRA? The insurance lobby does. Okay, right. They want the job. It's going to create the jobs, and it's going to bring in a ton of revenue. And then we're going to put together the policy. Now, when someone who owns a gun or weapon, whether it's an AR-15 or a sidearm, before you go out and commit a crime because you got a very bad day, your husband cheated on you, your wife cheated on you, you got fired from a job or something, you know?
Yeah, pizza with pineapple on it.
Oh, yes. Okay, absolutely. So before you go commit that crime, you're going to have to think twice because of the liability insurance that it has on you, the effect it's going to have on you, the effect that's going to have in your family. Okay. When we run to that data analysis, we talk to actuaries who have run the numbers. It should reduce it by about 30%. That's a big drop until at the federal level and at each state gets their act together and they decide, hey, what is a ban of assault weapons going to look like? Raising the age. We already have 21 as the age here in Florida. A lot of states don't have that problem. And I think this could be a model going forward for the rest of the country, and
Wow.
so I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. Yeah, that's actually really a really way to put it because I myself I happen to be a Democrat who owns guns, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a sportsman because I am not, but I still think it is. I get a little bit iffy on the constitutionality of it because we do have the Second Amendment, and for me, I have guns not because of the tyranny of the government, but the tyranny of John down the street.
Yep.
That's who I have my guns for.
Me too.
And so if there's a way for, this is I think the way that you are going about doing it is a way to silence some of the criticism that Obama's coming for your guns. Democrats were coming for the guns. And so they're like, whoa, we have guns too.
Right.
And we just want to be responsible. The way that you're going about it is using existing systems and the incentives to get needed policy change. And I that's an idea that I 100% support.
All right, absolutely. Right, and like I said, I have yet to meet a person who tells me they don't like it. I have not gotten because it makes sense. Okay, so we're going to create a firearm safety training program. It's going to instill proper firearm safety, teach proper practices for the storage of the weapons, and it's going to look at understanding someone's motive for purchasing a firearm. It must only be used for self-defense. If one completes the program, you fulfill the rest of the criteria, they qualify for the permit. Gun manufacturers will only sell to people who have completed that rigorous safety program and are insured. So by selling it only to insured clients, there's zero liability for manufacturers to be sued for their product. We're going to create an advisory committee that's going to specialize in creating that new industry of firearm insurance. Like I said, it's going to generate millions for the state economy, provide a bunch of new jobs for Floridians, and the new firearm insurance company, they would promote the program. They would assess the liability of their clients. Gun manufacturers are not required to sell to anyone, and it would be the responsibility of these experts to make the determination of the liability for the consumers. It's kind of a double authentication system. Someone wanting to purchase a firearm, you have to demonstrate good intentions, and you got to have proper safety for it. And it's going to limit gun violence statewide, also limit accidents too, because we got a lot of people that end up in the hospital or dying because of gun accidents.
If paying $100 a month or $50 a month or whatever it is, or a year, it wouldn't even be that much. I think it'd probably be $12, $13 a month, $8 a month, something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, if paying that amount encourages someone to buy a padlock that they otherwise would not have bought, it's worth it.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And I think most Floridians see it that way. And I think it's going to change the whole aspect of things.
Yep.
Nice. So there's two things the left that I wanted to discuss with you. One being another kind of function of the commissioner is to sit on
Clemency board,
the boards for Clemency, and kind of wanted to pick your brain on that topic, especially because Florida, with the recent amendment change that people that are have served their terms in jail and paid their fees and whatnot can vote again. And I think Ron DeSantis just announced that they found 20 people that voted illegally or something out of the 20 plus million voters.
That's voter intimidation. That's what it is. Okay, nothing more. Every single one of these individuals were told that their rights were restored. Okay, and the law actually says that you have to have intent to commit fraud, to voter fraud. And there was no intent there. Every single one of these people have said, I was told that I can go register. I was told that I can go vote.
Yeah, it's the old playbook for folks of let's have this big old press conference. Look, it cost us X millions amount of dollars to find these few individuals out of the millions of people who did this.
Right.
And they didn't even know that they couldn't. But so what are your thoughts on clemency and how that should be used in Florida? I don't know if when's the last time Florida's handed out a capital punishment? I think that's usually like Mississippi and.
Oh no, Florida's handed a few. I can't give you an exact date, but it's happened, and there's been a few executions. I'm not a person. I don't support capital punishment. That penalty, I think, should be abolished because for many reasons. One, that it is disproportionately applied to people of color. I have a huge problem with that. You got to have money, and it takes the high dollar legal representation to actually be represented fairly in the criminal justice system. We need strong criminal justice reform. My department, the job that I'm running for, has very little to do with criminal justice reform. But one of the things I will tell you is I will advocate for it. I will push the legislature. I will work with all the necessary stakeholders to move that along forward. One of the things I'd like to see also is everyone right now who is serving time in the state of Florida for marijuana offenses should be released. We got a group of people that are profiteering off of it, who are getting rich. The reason that this happened is because there were no jobs. It's a systematic problem that was created by the Republicans, first by defunding dollars for education. And then you allow these predatory companies to come in to kill the small businesses, to put rules that are archaic, that don't help communities, especially the marginalized communities, the people of color. And then what are you left with? I mean, you guys probably remember the whole Eddie Murphy movie, Trading Places.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So if you put someone in a situation like that, so usually most people will adapt to their surroundings in order to survive. So all that is by design. And you have the medical marijuana licensing fee. $14,000 application fee is ridiculous. It is designed to keep Black and brown people out of that system. And that's got to change. And that is one thing I'm going to push forward to get those fees lowered, because there are rules that says you have to be part of certain groups, certain associations. And in these groups, these associations, you have to pay an exorbitant amount of monthly fee, So every day, that's why there's nobody in the state of Florida who is Black, Latino, okay? Black and brown folks don't have the license. Strictly white people have the license. And they're all multimillionaires, and they're getting rich off of it. It's not right.
Wow.
Go
I had a question. I know.
Shocking.
Follow that up. Like, one was it like some 1 out of every 20 people on death row or whatever is actually innocent.
The last execution in Florida was 2019, Gary Bowles. So I would imagine COVID had something to do with that pause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So that's all I.
Hey, but you know what? But they've executed plenty of books.
Oh yeah.
So let's not allow rainbow colors. And the latest one, Black leaders. You can have a picture of Barack Obama or Martin Luther King.
Oh yeah, in your classroom.
It's that nonsense. While they're, people, it's like the old Muhammad Ali, okie doke. You falling for it. They're tricking you, they're distracting you over here with this. and they're screwing you on the back end because your homeowner's insurance is going up, your food prices is going up, your
But
rent.
look it over here.
You know,
Yeah.
in Florida, because we have a huge rent problem in Florida, and I can do something about that. Okay, Chapter 146 of the statute says I can institute a housing crisis emergency rule, which will allow me to put a rent cap hike for 1 year.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, well, I was just like, doesn't Orlando have like one of the top 3, if
yes,
not one?
Orlando, they actually put it on the ballot, and they're spending millions and millions of dollars to defeat that on their ballot right now. You know, we got some great representatives like Carlos Guillermo Smith, Anna Escamani in the Orlando area. Okay, those two are rock stars who are fighting diligently. You know, we got Angie Nixon up in Jacksonville, Michelle Goolsby in the Tampa area, Shervin Jones down in Miami. You got these folks that are actually, you know, we have some great talent at the state level. We need more like those folks to come in and fight and do what's right, because it's not about, you know, a power thing. It's not about how much money I can make. I'm talking about folks that legitimately give a damn about their constituents, you know, that respond and do the job. So I can't say enough about those names, and there's a few more I'm missing. Please don't get mad at me if I didn't mention you.
I saw on last call.
No,
So
but yeah, right. No, but the rent crisis. My daughter had to move back home. Okay, I live in Clay County. Duval County is Jacksonville. She had an apartment, paid $790. All right, her lease was ending in June. All right, and May she paid $790. She renewed the lease. They gave her a lease and says, okay, we're only going up to $815 as of July 1st. Okay, $790 to $815, not a bad deal, right? We can handle that. And then a week later, it says, oh no, we're changing it. Your new rent is now going to be $1,900. Okay. Yeah,
you know, just a couple bucks.
From $790 to $1,900. And then she was thinking, okay, that's going to be May. And then she says, okay, am I going to get a second job? How am I going to do this? You know, maybe pause, take less classes to do this because I don't want dad to help me pay for it. And then they came and says, oh, by the way, your June rent is also $1,900, because the way the law is written is if you have 45 days notice, you can change the lease, because the way the rules are, it's for landlords, not tenants. So she had to pay $1,900 for June in order not to have an eviction on her records. Okay, which is another thing I'm talking about. And for the folks listening, if you are in Florida, please go to my platform, JRGaillot.com. I've broken it down under agriculture and consumer protection. The rent policy is under consumer protection. It's one of the first ones at the top. I don't know, either right or left, but it's one of the first ones. This, you got to make 3 times the rent in order to qualify, and you got to have a certain credit score. Most people in the state of Florida who have low credit scores is due to an eviction. It's the number one reason why. And people can't live. So when I put the rent cap hike for 1 year, these predatory companies, these private equity firms that are coming in, buying these apartment buildings, are going to have to stop buying them. And then that's going to start driving the price down. Where I live, I get about 5 offers a week for someone to buy my house. About 6 months ago, I was getting about 20 offers a week. I've had people knock on my door. I opened the door. Can I help you? Hi, my name is John. I want to buy your house. No, my house is not for sale. Oh, you haven't heard my offer. I'd love to walk away with $250,000 in my pocket right now. But here's the thing. I can't buy the next house because the prices have been so inflated. I can't afford the next mortgage payment, even if I put the $250,000 down. So I'm stuck. And that's a problem. In my neighborhood, there are 12 Airbnbs, 12 of them, all owned by companies, not by an individual. And that is in the Nextdoor app. This is what my neighbors are complaining of. My rent policy is going to put a stop to that. It's going to change that. And it's going to force whoever's governor to bring the legislature back to deal with it. So the two
That's
things I
good.
can do is a rent freeze for 3 months or a rent cap for 1 year. Because Democrats, we do not control the legislature in Florida. 3 months is unpredictable. It's not enough time. The rent cap for a year works best. It gives the legislature time to address it. And another thing, I will work with the legislature, with the local stakeholders and local government to make them change the Sandusky formula. There's something called the Sandusky Act in the state of Florida, where 85% of financial assistance goes to single family homes, but only 15% to multi-family homes. It needs to be changed to 50 so we can get affordable housing here in the state of Florida. That's what I'm fighting.
Dave, that's a great segue to to wrap up here. You know, I always like to have candidates do their like closing statement or whatever for their like 1 minute vote for me. Here's the big sell. But before that, I wanted to get back to Brent's question here about working with DeSantis and what is it, something, is that, will you have to work directly with Ron DeSantis? Is that something that you think you can do, is work with Ron DeSantis?
Well, no, he'll be president in like a week.
No. Okay. So first of all,
give us and then give us a 1 minute kind of closing vote for me.
All right. So you don't want me to answer the DeSantis question?
No, yeah, answer that first, and then we'll go into it.
All right. So whoever wins the Democratic primary for governor will beat Ron DeSantis. I sincerely believe that, whether it's Charlie Crist or Nikki Fried. Okay, that's number one. Now, God forbid that DeSantis gets reelected. Yes, I will have to work with DeSantis, not for him. He cannot fire me. I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. I am not the guy that DeSantis wants to sit across at a cabinet meeting. I'm not going to take his shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cuss.
Boom. Oh, shit. Keep swearing.
Yeah.
Okay. I get passionate about this, and then it came out, and I was like, oh, oops.
Hey,
you know?
I got a Moscow Mule right here.
Just remember.
Just remember. It's about lay back.
The guy is a freaking tyrant.
When Beto swears, it's bad. When Trump swears, it's good. So they don't care anyway. So just keep going. Right.
So I'm not going to take his crap. All right. And I'm going to stand up to him. And when it comes to policy, what matters for folks, I am better than that. I am better than over half these Republicans. You got some great Republicans who have backed down to DeSantis because they are afraid. It's just like you know, when Trump was in office, you got all these guys that privately they hate Trump. But when it comes to voting for him or not criticize him in public, they tuck their tail between their legs, and then they go along for the ride because it's all about the power holding on to that office. So I am not that guy. So that answers that question. Would I have to work with him? Hopefully not. But if I have to, I will, and I will deal with it. And he's not going to have free reign like he has now with me as part of the cabinet. So now I get to go in my little closing spiel.
Yes, go for it.
All right. Folks, my name is JR Gaillot. I'm a Harvard-educated legislative director. I speak 5 languages. The reason I am running in this race is growing up as a Gaillot, my dad was a retired diplomat. There were 3 things we were taught. You have to partake in the work that you do. You have to celebrate your accomplishment, and you have to protect it. That is the job of the Commissioner of Agriculture and Consumer Protection. I want to help you, give you a hand up, not a handout. Okay? I want to help you celebrate your work and protect it. That is going to be my job. I need your help. I need your support. I need your vote. Election day is Tuesday. Polls are open. And if you get to the poll late, stay in line. They have to let you vote. Do not leave. Okay? Even if poll closes, stay in line. I am the second name on the ballot on the Democratic primary, JR Gaillot. Just look for the JR. Don't try to look for the last name or pronounce it. Just think of JR because it's just right.
Vote for that guy. Yo.
Vote for me. I need your help. Share it with your friends, family. Take a look at my platform. I see it's been put up on the broadcast there, jrgaillot.com. Click on the platform and then take a look. Everything I say that I'm going to do, I don't just blow smoke. I tell you step by step how I'm going to do it. I list the statutes and the laws that empowers me to do this. Too many times we work hard, we commit our time, we donate money to politicians, and then when they get into office, nothing that they promised you was accomplished because they realized they didn't look at the job, they didn't study the job beforehand and understand how to do it. I am different. As a former crisis manager, I fix things, and I'm here to fix Florida. I'm here to put money back in your wallet. JR Gaillot, vote for JR. I need your help. I need your support. Let's fix Florida together.